Since the beginning of civilization, curses have caused fear, paranoia, and even civil unrest. They've served as explanations for the unexplained, taken the blame for natural phenomena, and served as entertaining folklore throughout our history. This week, the Jackalopes Explore curses throughout history.
This week's episode of Jackalopes Explore is brought to you by Cloud Peak Center Lanes and Games, located at 1520 Coffeen Avenue in Sheridan. Stop in today to check out their amazing new arcade and prize counter, offering games and prizes for all ages and skill levels. From their full-service lounge to bowling alley and arcade, there is something for everyone. Cloud Peak Center Lanes and Games. Stop in today.
I'm Floyd Whiting.
I'm Aaron Linden.
I'm Steve Sisson.
I'm Emmy Whiting, and I feel like one of those dogs that's like so excited it's just shaking.
I'm pretty pumped about this. Yeah.
I even decided to do research a day before.
Whoa!
I never do.
That's a record.
Right? She's a morning of kind of person.
Yeah.
This is motivating.
Nice.
We are your jackalopes. Essentially, we're just four friends who sit around, discuss conspiracies, the paranormal, ancient mysteries, and of course, the supernatural. Go ahead and give us a like if you like what we do here. Subscribe if you would like to see more of it. Now, what is a curse? A curse is a series of rituals, spoken and written words, silent hand gestures, or all of the above, to cause an effect, mostly negative, in the world, either upon a person, a location, a group of people, an item. Really, just about anything can be cursed. Now, the first recorded curses that we know of come from evidence that suggests ancient Mesopotamian and Greek societies who practiced magic included curse tablets, with some of the earliest examples dating all the way back to the 4th century BCE. So curses have literally been with us since the dawn of civilization itself. Now, we all decided to pick a curse that we kind of wanted to discuss. So I chose one that I kind of grew up with. And I'm just going to cover it real quick because I did some research. And I'm not going to go into that just yet. Okay, so,
I thought this episode was on curse words. So I'm woefully.
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot. Yeah. Viewer discretion is always advised. The Elkhorn Mountains of the Blue Mountain Range actually run along the western edge of Baker City, Oregon. Usually sometime in November, snow covers those peaks and it actually fills a bowl-like valley. And this is when the shadow of a Native American chief can actually be seen in full headdress, taking up the entire bowl of the mountain. Now, when I say this is large, folks, this takes up the whole side of the mountain, and he basically overlooks the entire city of Baker. This is
Wyoming, by the way. Baker, Wyoming, right?
No, Baker City, Oregon. So this thing is actually quite famous. It's been featured in many paintings, but you can only see it November through February because the snow covers the forest, essentially. Mm-hmm. And you have to be out there from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And people have come to call him the guardian of the valley. But when I was a kid, living in the area, there was a rumor of a curse. Now, we were told that the Native Americans who lived in the area before the arrival of the white man were basically pretty angry once they all started pouring in. And yeah, I get it. And so what one of the chiefs had done, according to this rumor, was said, if you want the valley, fine, it's yours, but you will never leave it. So supposedly, if you're born in Baker City, you will also die there. You will never be able to get out of town. Of course, that's something that I think every small town goes through.
Absolutely.
And when I was living there, I was like a teenage kid. So, we're never getting out of this town. This is just, we're just stuck here forever. And it's so boring.
The invisible force field.
Yeah, exactly. And you'd look up there and you could see this chief. Because like I said, man, it's huge. There's no avoiding it. Once you know where to look, he's always there during that time frame.
Making sure you're not leaving.
Making sure that watching over you. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to look and see if there's any credence to these rumors that I heard when I was a little boy. There is not. There is absolutely no official talk of a curse at all. People in the area, actually, like adults in the area, actually regard the shadow as something like a blessing. Because, you're being watched over by this mighty chief who's taking care of you, taking care of the valley, and taking care of the people. I was never able, and I looked for quite a while, to find any evidence of the curse outside of what people put up on Facebook posts.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and I was like, yeah, me too.
Well,
I was like,
anymore, that's a trusted source.
I know, right? Yeah.
Well, and I like that you picked one that was like you have a personal connection with from your childhood.
And I can remember looking out there at some point when I did feel like I was going to be stuck in that town for my entire life, which I got out of there before I turned 20. I was like, we are gone. And, I've
You're like,
back
later, chief, I'm out.
Later, chief. You ain't got me, man.
Yeah, but you weren't born there.
I was not born.
So
nope. I was born here in Wyoming.
You can visit.
You're right.
And it wasn't, the thing of it is, once you actually do a little bit of history, though, it wasn't like one tribe that used that area. Because, many of our indigenous tribes were, nomadic. They followed their herds. Many different tribes actually used that valley because it's actually a very beautiful place. If you ever get an opportunity to just stop in there and check the place out, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, just don't stay too long.
Just don't stay too long.
Yeah,
right?
you get stuck.
The Cayuse people, the Amalita, the Walla Walla, the Nez Perce people of the South Plateau, and the Paiute peoples of the Northern Great Basin. And if I mispronounce any of this, I greatly apologize. But all of those tribes would use that valley. So it wasn't like it was one tribe's area.
Right.
And throughout history, many peoples came through and passed on and so forth. So I think it's just kind of interesting, when it comes to curses and legends and things like that. I grew up with a few, and I've always kind of gone back and been like, where did this come from?
Right.
Probably somebody's older brother who got stuck there.
Or somebody that was just using it as an excuse.
It's the curse.
I can't get out. I can't
It's the curse.
I just got to stay here, man.
Chief said I can't leave.
But yeah, just so, I still have a lot of family over there. So for all of you who watch the show, there's no credence to that curse whatsoever.
So you're free to leave.
You're free to go. What's really odd, though, is I am the only sibling who did make it out. Everyone else is still there.
So maybe something else is keeping them there.
Maybe something. Maybe there is a bit of a curse behind it all, right?
Right.
But I've always found curses to be quite fascinating because even to this day, they still carry a lot of power among people. Like we got curse words. Anything dirty or forbidden, it's a curse word. And the idea of like, if a woman looked at you and said, well, we had a bad relationship, I'm going to put a curse on you. Yeah. You still kind of walk around like, okay, well,
every bad thing that happens, you're like, there was the curse.
It's the curse, and again, maybe it's just something that we put credence into because we need it. Right. We talk about that quite a bit. Yeah. But, so that's the curse that I chose. And unfortunately, maybe fortunately, it doesn't come from any source that is actually known. So I'm going to pass it on to Emmy because, boy, she's ready.
Okay.
She's ready.
So I have 3 little short dives into cursed paintings.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah. So we're going to start off. Okay. And talking about mispronunciations in your thing, we're going to get to the mispronunciations. So
it's going to happen.
I apologize fully beforehand. So the first painting we're going to talk about was just titled Portrait of a Lady by Juan Luna. Oh, do you?
Really? Nice.
Okay. So legend says This undated portrait is of the artist's wife, Paz Pardo de Taverna.
Perfect.
I nailed it.
Should have been a historian.
Who the artist, Juan Luna, murdered.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yes, and he did actually do that. So, Luna was a jealous man and would often accuse his wife of having an affair. In September of 1892, during one of these fits of jealousy, he shot the door that his wife was behind, killing his wife and his mother-in-law and wounding his brother-in-law in the process.
Oh, geez. And wrecking the door.
Yes, and killing the door.
Right.
He was acquitted of these crimes in 1893. This was what it said. There was an unwritten law, quote unquote, at the time that forgave men for killing unfaithful wives, which
of course.
It's 1893. So yeah, probably terrible.
Quality. Anyway.
Yeah.
Supposedly, the painting is now possessed by the spirit of Paz, who brings misfortune upon its owners, such as dying in car crashes, being forced into bankruptcy, and experiencing miscarriage, among other reported sorrows.
Oh, wow.
As
Why
they
would you
say.
want that painting? In your
Right?
house? Like,
Yeah.
hey, curse painting.
You want a drink? I'm good.
I've been bankrupt for years.
But I got the painting.
Hold this gun. No.
It's also said that during the opening night of the exhibition that held this painting in 1987 at the Metropolitan Museum of Manila?
Manila, I think.
I don't know. The spotlight bulb above the painting exploded. Some say the woman depicted in the painting is believed to be Angela Dutch, a favorite model of the painter. But I'm saying, you see the painting and you see a picture of his wife, it's his wife.
Yeah.
Because I have it here, and I will send them to Grant too. So this is the painting.
Okay.
What?
But we have the painting right there.
Are copies of it pressed as well?
No, because it's not in color, because we have a black and white printer. But
Does that matter?
this is his wife. And I'm saying
Same person.
the mouth
Yeah.
and the nose are unmistakably.
Even the expression looks similar.
Yes. That's
I'm not
his
comfortable
wife.
having those in here.
Listen,
Watch the heater fall off.
I didn't print off the other ones. So that one's an immersive experience. So the next two are immersive experiences. So get out your cell phones
Oh, I like it.
because you need to see them in color.
Oh, no.
Right.
I swear, if
You're
my
not going to like spread a curse.
if my phone gets cursed because
Listen,
of this.
I looked up a lot of things.
Yes, we're like,
I'm like, yeah.
All right, what
It's
are we
like,
looking
I don't
at?
believe in it, but I don't want to tempt fate at the same time.
Should I go into my private browser?
Incognito
Listen,
Should we
tab?
go incognito?
The last one on my list actually made me uncomfortable to
Really?
look at.
Oh.
Yes. But the next one is called The Anguished Man. So if you looked up The Anguished Man painting,
Okay.
and the artist is unknown. So I'm going to wait for you guys to pull it up.
Painting?
Yeah, unknown artist. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Oh, yeah.
the owner, Sean, I think is how you pronounce it.
That is horrifying.
That's
Yeah. So Sean Robinson from Cumbria, England, claims to have inherited the painting from his grandmother. She told him the artist who created the painting had mixed his own blood into the paint and died by suicide soon after finishing the work.
I can see that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Robinson claims to have heard crying and moaning noises in his house and to have once seen the figure of a man. Guests reportedly had nosebleeds and experienced extreme nausea while looking at the painting.
Hey, want to come over and see my new painting?
Right. Like, how do you do that? How do you invite your friends to come look at your cursed paint?
Honestly, there'd be so
Bring
many
some
people.
Kleenex.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be so many people that are like, I want to mix my
Yeah.
nose blood in that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
But yes, very short and sweet with that one. But I wanted to include it because the painting is uncomfortable.
That's-
It does have a very, yeah.
Right when I found it, I'm like, "Bleh."
Yeah. There's something about it. I don't know. It's like the fleshy look to it.
Yeah, that and the
Yeah.
expression. I mean, there's anguish, but there's also like terror in the
Yeah.
anguish.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just leave it on the screen the whole time we're talking about
Just in the
it.
background.
Yes, just right behind one of us, you know?
Ew.
So the next one you're looking up, and this is the one that made me feel extremely uncomfortable, is Woman of the Rain by Svetlana Teletis, I think.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, that's
that's
Actually, I kind of like it.
that one doesn't hit me as bad as the last
I love
one.
it, but it makes me uncomfortable.
creepy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in 1996, Svetlana had a feeling of constantly being watched for 6 months. During this time, she was sitting in front of a blank canvas when a clear vision of the final painting appeared to her. Feeling like someone was controlling her hand, she sketched the composition for 5 hours and then spent another month refining the details. Many people who bought the painting returned it to the seller after describing a figure following them in their homes and dreams.
Oh, wow.
So it's like cursed but haunted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I could see like this figure would be like that kind of.
Yeah.
well. The
Thing you
thing
would
is,
see.
like, zoom in on that and look at the eye.
Yes,
I was actually just thinking that same thing.
They're not quite
eyes.
closed,
Right.
but yeah.
Get ready.
She looks like I feel.
Yeah. So get ready, because one owner described white eyes appearing everywhere he looked and returned the painting with an offer to pay half the purchase price back to them.
Wow. I'll pay you to take this back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty
That's
good
fascinating.
return on investment.
Yeah, it is.
The piece was eventually purchased by musician Sergei Sekov
Okay.
Yeah.
in 2008. Though reportedly his wife later hid the painting after seeing a ghostly figure walk around their apartment at night.
Does that work? Hiding it? Like, well, I'll put it in the closet. It's fine.
Right?
I think it's
I
more
mean, if
so
you
they
still
didn't,
have it,
they didn't want it to stare at them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Mm.
Like she was like, I don't want this painting staring
We
at
got this
me.
really cool painting, super expensive. It's in the closet.
Yeah.
Underneath all the linen.
So
Go get me a bath towel.
No.
yeah, could you imagine?
Lady in the closet. Lady in the closet.
Have y'all ever seen the new It movie?
No.
So there's that like painting of the bent neck lady in there
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
And like he's terrified of the painting, and then the painting starts like coming to life.
not good.
So I'll leave it on this note. This is the last little portion here. According to archpriest Vitaly.
Yep, nailed it.
I love how all the pronunciations have like,
German.
yeah.
This is Ukrainian.
Ah,
Yes. So Vidali, I don't know, of the Transfiguration Cathedral in Vinistasia.
Anastasia.
There you go. Quote, a person has a spirit and a soul. There are truly spiritual works of art, and there are soulful ones. The painting you are talking about represents just such soulful art, and it doesn't come from God.
Wow. So,
That's,
that brings up a good question, though. Are haunted objects cursed?
I think if misfortune like follows you,
It's
it
cursed.
follows
Right.
this
So, like,
painting.
there's
Yeah.
paintings that, like, the eyes will follow.
Mm.
You know,
Yes.
like haunted.
Right.
But they're not bad.
Yeah.
Like, nothing happens to you if it looks at you or you own it. But these,
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's a separation between haunted and cursed. But a lot of times, if it's haunted, it could be cursed.
yeah,
Right.
you could say that an entity that is condemned to do the haunting is cursed.
Right.
Yes. And
Yep.
there are a whole list of cursed paintings. I would highly suggest you look it up because there are so many I couldn't cover.
Hmm.
Like there's one about a painting of a crying
Yes, I know about
Where- boy.
Yeah.
Places with these prints kept catching fire, but then the painting or the print would be completely untouched.
that one.
Amazing.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's so amazing that and I say we put such value on certain things, and certain objects can carry this weight. Pictures,
Mhm.
paintings,
Yeah.
definitely one of them. And maybe it's just the idea that it invokes a feeling within you. And the power of art is maybe the artist isn't going for that peaceful, oh, I look at the Mona Lisa and I just wonder why she's got that little smirk. They're going for something else. I look at this and I feel really uncomfortable. Fantastic.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
There is a painting that I looked up when we were looking at this. And like, yes, the last one makes me uncomfortable, but the other one, it was hard to look at. And it said, or it was titled, I can't be a bride anymore. Terrifying.
All right, I'm going to the phone.
I was going to say.
And it's by, I believe, a Japanese artist. Yeah.
It's just, it's interesting to me that we as a species put such value, whether it be positive or negative, on objects.
God.
We're going to have to post that one too. Absolutely.
I don't know if you want us to.
All of his work is horrifying.
Her work.
All of her work is horrifying.
And she has a lot of strong themes of like domestic violence, things like that.
If I saw that in an alley,
it's very scary and unsettling. Yeah,
I'd have a heart attack before it got me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Did you see it?
I didn't. I'll look it up a little bit later.
Okay.
But it's just, again, when the artist is going for that, boy, you nailed it.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
If someone could
Her
look
work
at an
is
object
amazing.
and
Her work is
basically
amazing,
say
yeah.
that's cursed, I'd be like,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, and we give power to things like paintings because a piece of the artist is going into that work.
Right.
And so that kind of has that power.
And we're the ones who put the value on it. Grant's crawling around right now. A little distracted.
Every time he's got to plug in the computer halfway through the show.
You could plug it.
A hero.
He is a hero, but you could plug it in beforehand.
But, I mean, the man's a hero. I'm telling you. Look at him go.
He's under the camera's field of view.
He stands like 6 foot something. So to see him crawl, it's like watching a giant spider.
Him crawling is still taller than I am.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
It's cursed.
And you wonder why his back hurts.
Yeah, right.
All right. So, Steve, what'd you find?
I don't usually have paper notes, but
Ooh.
let me just get these in order here.
This is why he doesn't have paper notes.
We're going to take the paper away from you.
Anyone have an iron?
It's good. We're good. All right. So the John Madden football games, the Madden Curse, is the idea that
this is Grant's favorite, by the way.
Yeah, this is one I was kind of casually familiar with, but I dug into it for this episode.
Well, I'll tell you, I know nothing. So
the idea is that any NFL player featured on the cover of the John Madden NFL game has something bad happen to them in the upcoming season after they get featured on the cover.
Then there's some evidence.
Yes, more than I thought there would be, actually.
A lot.
I'd heard about it and thought, okay, yeah, so a guy had a bad year and they blamed it on, he was on the cover of the...
Right, yeah.
But these games go back to 1988. The very first one was an Apple II Commodore 64 DOS game that was ported to the Genesis. That's how old these games are. But the early editions of the game all had John Madden on the cover.
Yeah.
From 88 until like 95, it was just him.
And he lived a long, happy life.
Yes.
John Madden was a great guy.
Yeah, he was on the cover for many editions. And there's pretty much a new edition of this game almost every year because they put new teams out, the new players and all that stuff.
But he did die.
He did.
Well,
yeah. Like everyone else eventually will.
How old was he? Like 98 or something? He was like,
he died at 98, mysteriously.
In a 1996 was the first cover to not have just John Madden. It had Carolina Panthers and Jacksonville Jaguars, part of an action scene of them in a game. So you could see the helmets and the uniform, but not really their faces. So they weren't really featured on there. But the first cover to feature an NFL player featured on the cover was the international version of Madden 99. Garrison Hurst was on the cover of that. He suffered a gruesome broken ankle in the playoffs that year.
Okay.
So let's just go down the list of each edition of Madden and who was on the cover and what happened to them. 2000, John Madden's in the foreground. Barry Sanders was clearly visible in the background, kind of like a faded image, but it was clearly him. He unexpectedly retired prior to the start of the 99 season.
He knew about the curse. He's like,
not even going to play. 2002, Dante Culpepper was coming off an excellent 2001 season, which is why he was on the cover, but he suffered a season-ending knee injury late in that year. 2003, Marshall Falk suffered an ankle injury that shelved him for a pair of games. The 2001 season was actually the last one he rushed for over 1,000 yards.
Wow.
2004, Michael Vick suffered a fractured fibula during the preseason, missing 11 games in the upcoming. That's almost the entire season.
I was
pretty
going to
much
say, that's
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 2005, Ray Lewis suffered a broken wrist that forced him to sit out the final game of the 2004 season. That was the first time he had missed a game since 2002.
wow.
He had a great seasons. Then this happens after he's on the cover. 2006, Donovan McNabb injured his groin in week 10. He was placed on season-ending injury reserve list later that week. Didn't play for the rest of the season. 2007, Sean Alexander, broken foot in week 3. He did come back later on in the season, though. 2009, Brett Favre was retired when he was named the cover athlete for the game. He returned to play for the Jets in 2009. He didn't miss any games that year, but he suffered an injured bicep tendon, and the Jets lost 4 of their last 5 games that season.
Because he was benched.
Yes. Well, no, because he just couldn't play as well.
Yeah,
right.
He was.
Okay.
He couldn't hawk it down.
Okay,
Yeah,
he
like
wasn't
he used
benched.
to.
That's right.
Yeah.
You said he didn't miss any games.
Yeah, but
Okay.
a bicep on a quarterback, that's not
Yeah.
great. 2010 had 2 players on the cover, Larry Fitzgerald and Troy Polamalu. Polamalu missed time while dealing with a career-threatening knee injury. Fitzgerald dealt with injuries to his knee and elbow, but didn't miss any time. I mean, that's not horrible, but, not great. 2012 was the first cover to have a player chosen for the cover by the fans. He did, I can't remember who that was, though.
Everyone's like holding hands and
Yeah.
like, don't let it be me. Don't let it be me. Don't let it be me.
I'm so happy to receive this honor. He actually sat out a game with strep throat and had hamstring issues throughout the year. 2014, Adrian Peterson suffered a foot sprain in week 16. He had a groin injury that same season, missed a couple of games, underwent surgery the following season. So, I mean, the next season he wasn't out, but he didn't have a very good season and suffered after that. 2015, Richard Sherman suffered an elbow injury during the NFC Championship game. He underwent Tommy John surgery following their Super Bowl loss to the Patriots that year. 2016, Odell Beckham Jr. dealt with a couple of lingering hamstring issues. He was given a 1-game suspension late in the season after an altercation with another player. 2017, Rob Gronkowski suffered a hamstring injury that forced him to sit out a few games, a pulmonary contusion, and a back injury that required season-ending surgery.
All
So
I'm
now-
saying
now
is
hang
this
on.
is just dangerous.
Well, okay. And for those of you at home who are keeping up with this, I kind of lost the years. But from what I'm telling, there hasn't been a year where someone's on a cover that something didn't happen to.
I've
Was
skipped
there?
a couple.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll cover the few that didn't.
Okay.
2019, Antonio Brown, who had been with the Steelers for 8 years, he suffered a knee injury toward the end of that season. Apparently had some issues with the team also, and didn't play for the Steelers again. He was traded to the Raiders, but never played for them. He was with the Patriots for 1 year, then the Bucks for 2 years, and then he was done. And
The wrinkled mess.
2024.
I think he actually flipped that twice right back to the same page.
Josh Allen, 2024. He played in all 17 games during that season, threw for 4,306 yards, 29 touchdowns, rushed for 524 yards, and a career high 15 additional touchdowns. But some would argue he had a down year as he led all NFL quarterbacks in turnovers, and the Bills fell short of their Super Bowl goal yet again. So would he have done better if he wasn't on the cover? Because he was actually on his way up and then kind of leveled off, slumped a little bit in the 2024 season. Okay, now the handful that seem to have survived, and some of these you could kind of say maybe didn't quite survive. 2001, I think, is pretty clearly a guy who dodged the curse. Eddie George had a very successful season that year. 2008, Vince Young missed a game after dealing with a quad injury, but it was the only game he missed that season. I mean, maybe not. 2011, Drew Brees avoided injury. He led the Saints to the playoffs. They did, however, lose to the Seahawks in a major upset. So depends on how you look at it there. 2013, Calvin Johnson had a great receiving season. In fact, one of the greatest in NFL history. And then You look at these guys. Tom Brady, 2018, played in all 16 games, won the MVP, led the Patriots into the Super Bowl. They did not win the Super Bowl, though. They lost to the Eagles that year.
Cover.
Patrick,
Because of the cover.
It's the cover.
Yeah, because they would have won if you hadn't won the cover, right?
Listen, if I just lost a game versus like having a
limb.
major injury,
Right.
I'm good.
That's true, yeah.
I'm
and I
good.
think, was that the same year that Tom Brady had his own game too that year? I think. Might have been. 2020, Patrick Mahomes missed some time with a dislocated kneecap later in the season. He missed a couple games. The Chiefs did go on to win the Super Bowl that year, though.
That sounds horrible.
Right?
Ow!
Like if I'm going to dislocate anything, not that.
The kneecap would, yeah, especially for a quarterback too, like that, like an injury for, yeah.
Have y'all been able to ever like pop your kneecaps?
No.
I don't think I want to try.
I could.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah, not on purpose, at least.
I can't anymore, but I used to when I was a kid. It would gross my sisters out.
I can see why.
That's a skill. That's a talent. 2021, Lamar Jackson missed just one game. He was added to the list because of the pandemic. He would also suffer a small knee injury, but he played through it. And then in 2022, just to tempt fate again, we had Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady on the cover. Ooh. But again, they dodged it with Mahomes playing in all 17 regular season games. He did come up short of making it to the Super Bowl that year, losing to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. He also had a concussion, but he was cleared through the protocol both times. Tom Brady also played in all 17 games and avoided any injury through the season. So Brady and Mahomes,
Immune.
They could cruise through it.
Yep.
yeah.
Maybe
But
Madden liked them.
You know what, though?
They had a
Here's the thing.
vaccination.
What's the opposite of a curse? They're charmed.
Yes.
Those guys are charmed.
Yes.
There you go.
I mean, and
Like-
they just really are.
Yeah,
Maybe
those guys are
they're
like two of the greatest players in the whole history of
Right.
the game, and they managed to come through. But everybody else, even some pretty good players, end
And
up
you know,
having
when it
stuff
comes to
happen
like
them.
athletes and sports and everything, boy, there's a lot of superstition around that.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. My father is very into football, and I would come for the food. But he was like, he had to have all his daughters there.
Yep.
And so he didn't care that I just came for the food. He was like, as long as you are here,
Right.
that's
We're-
what we need.
we're
See,
gonna win. We're gonna
I'm
win.
superstitious. When my team, I grew up in Minnesota, so the Vikings, when they play, if I watch them play, guaranteed they will lose.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I just don't watch.
Well,
When
even
I
some
was
people
go-
like as soon as I turn the game on TV, the game starts changing direction.
Right,
So.
100%.
You know, I've noticed that though. I've done the same thing because I can remember back when I was absolutely loving with the Chargers. I would turn on the TV, they'd start losing. I'd turn it off. And then I'd look at the news and they'd win.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so I'm the
Seriously.
unlucky thing. I can't watch my team. And so I never would. I would, if everyone, hey, the Chargers are on. You're always wearing that Chargers hat. Don't turn it on. Don't do it.
I don't.
Well, don't worry. I will never watch.
But maybe if you would start watching, things would start
maybe.
becoming good.
But
For who?
Yeah, that's
when I was at the University of Wyoming, I had a friend, before I transferred to the university, we lived in Green River and we'd go watch the basketball games on TV all the time down at the bar, having a great time. She found this really old 1980s / maybe even 70s University of Wyoming sweater. And I would wear this horrible stinking thing and we would win the basketball game. So that whole season, that's what I wore.
And you
on
couldn't
game
wash
day.
it.
He couldn't
Nope,
wash it.
nope,
You gotta have
never
that
did.
sweat
Never
on
did.
it.
Uh-huh.
That stank.
So,
Yeah.
matter of fact, part of this story deals with the washing. So I wore this sweater, and this was around the time that the University of Wyoming decided to change their colors. They went to a really ugly prairie gold that we all disliked so much they eventually switched
The
it
poo
back.
pee pee colors.
Yeah, no one was, no
Yeah.
one really liked it.
Yep.
But now we're back to our classic colors, and this sweater was the classic colors, which is why everybody just loved this thing because it was ugly. It was literally just, gold and brown stripe, like just right. Unless you were part of the university, you didn't get the sweater. I just looked like a bee running around. Later, I transferred to the University of Wyoming. Finally wash the buffalo wing sauce and the beer off of the sweater. And every time I wore it to a football game, we would lose.
Listen, you just have to counteract that with not wearing deodorant. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Or just rub some beer.
I just,
and
I
wings on.
stopped at going to the games with the sweater on.
Yeah.
The sweater was no longer lucky. It now became a cursed item.
Yep.
Yep.
And we kept it in the house.
Yeah, because if you do that, like try to fake it, That could make it even worse.
Yep, it could make it even
they'll
worse.
lose and they'll
How
be like massive
dare
injuries.
you? How dare you try?
You wouldn't just
to
lose.
sneak this past the football god.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the genuine article is one thing, but trying to fake it.
Yep,
Yeah,
not
you'd
gonna happen.
lose the game and your quarterback could be out for the rest of the year.
Unfortunately,
Especially if he was on the cover of Madden.
it did more than just clean it. It also shrunk it.
Oh.
So I
So
damaged.
it's a crap tap now.
I damaged the sweater. So maybe that's what did the whole season in. I mean, so it's crazy, you know, like some athletes won't wash socks.
Yeah.
You know, it's or wear them on inside out or they have these little rituals.
The playoff beard.
Yeah. You know, and it's really strange. Maybe that's all part of the human experience, you know, at the same time where some people put a lot of faith in religions. Other people, you know, you talk to people who love luck. Lady Luck is out there somewhere. Put a lot of credence and value in that. And if you upset her,
Or
she'll
karma.
curse you.
A lot of people
Karma.
believe in karma. I
Absolutely.
think I'm one of those people.
Karma person.
I do believe in karma. Yeah.
Now, is this like the karma where if I do something good today, then something good will happen to me tomorrow?
No, it's more so that the universe will bring back what you give out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because like the Buddhist karma is the whole life.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got to be good, you know, or compassionate and good your whole life, and then your karma that you have built up
For the next life.
will decide where you go in your
Karma
next life.
credits.
Which
Karma credits.
I don't know what I think about that. You know what I mean? But I just think you get what you give.
I like it because if you are an asshole
Nah.
Yeah.
and say like you're a rich asshole
You're a dung beetle.
who likes to keep things from people, you could be just a maggot and a fly in your next life. And I like to think about that stuff. Aaron, what'd you find?
I'm going to take us on a little journey.
I'm ready for the journey.
It's about to get weird.
The problem with curses is there's so many good ones.
There's a lot of good ones. Yeah.
that I was like,
It's
how do
hard
you
to pick.
narrow it down?
I know.
But I knew about this one, and I'm like, it ties a couple things together that I really like. So that's what I chose. The Curse of Chief Cornstalk revolves around a Shawnee chief, Cornstalk, and his supposed dying curse on the land. Chief Cornstalk was a prominent leader of the Shawnee people in the 18th century. He initially fought against American settlers, but later was a huge advocate for peace. Chief Cornstalk was known for his military prowess and efforts to broker peace between the Native American tribes and the European settlers. However, tensions between settlers and Shawnee escalated, culminating in a battle which was part of the Lord Dunmore's War. And in 1777, during the American Revolution, Chief Cornstalk visited Fort Randolph to warn the settlers that some Native American tribes were preparing to side with the British, and he was trying to negotiate for peace instead. But instead of thanking him, he was taken hostage along with his son.
Oh.
Tensions escalated when a group of settlers that were seeking revenge for a murdered militiaman gathered outside the fort. They were just looking for a Native American.
Yep.
They didn't care whether it was Shawnee or not. And they ended up executing Chief Cornstalk, his son, and two other warriors in cold blood on November 10th, 1777. As the story goes, with his dying breath, Cornstalk placed a curse upon the land, allegedly saying something along the lines of, "For this, may the curse of the Great Spirit rest upon this land. May it blight by nature. May it be cursed in its hopes. May the strengths of its people be paralyzed by the stain of our blood." So believers in this legend claim that the curse resulted in a series of misfortunes in the area. December 15th, 1967, Silver Bridge suddenly collapsed, killing 46 people, was the most tragic result of the curse in the area. Unexplained disasters and deaths, various floods, fires, other tragedies in the region had been attributed to the curse. And from the murder of him to the curse, all this stuff took place in one place, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So, for those of you that know, you know
Oh, yeah.
what I'm talking
If
about.
you know, you know.
And it was the start of the curse of Mothman.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the Mothman, mysterious winged humanoid figure with glowing red eyes, was first reported in Point Pleasant in 1966, literally just days before the Silver Bridge disaster. Some speculate that the Mothman is the harbinger of doom linked to Cornstalk's curse, that he actually manifested Mothman. So Chief Cornstalk's remains were reburied in Point Pleasant at the, talk about butchering a name, to Wee State Park.
We
where a
apologize
monument-
for
yeah.
all this, all of the pronunciation.
I think I got Madden right.
Nice word. I believe it's Madden. So there's a monument there, and Point Pleasant continues to embrace the eerie history with things like the Mothman Festival, which I still want to go to.
Yeah, I would love to go to that.
like I said, little Jackalopes trip.
Oh,
I love
totally.
it.
To the Mothman Festival.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We'll record on scene.
Yes.
So whether you believe the curse or not, the story of Chief Cornstalk is an intriguing mix of history, because it did happen, legend, and supernatural mystery. But of course, Mothman is one of
huge.
the best.
Yeah.
And I guess up until this, I didn't realize Mothman wasn't just like Mothman.
Right.
Like
Yes.
where did Mothman come from?
Right, like
So-
Bigfoot, right? Like
Right.
he's always there.
He's just there.
Yeah.
Last night, he told me Mothman is technically a curse.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? So I'm so glad you covered this, because I didn't know what the curse was. And also, good for Cornstalk. Curse those.
Yeah.
Curse those.
Yeah. But I was like, yeah, I'd curse him too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
You show up and you're like, hey, got some news for you.
I got your back, guys.
Yeah, let me help out. And they're like, no,
Dead.
we'll throw you
Yeah.
in prison and then give you up to these guys. So, but I just thought Mothman, I mean, I know a lot about Mothman.
Yeah.
And he shows up like when the Minneapolis bridge collapsed. There were Mothman sightings days
Yes.
before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought he was just always there, like Mothman.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh,
No,
he's a
linked.
curse.
Mhm.
So I was
An
excited.
Epic curse too. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
And like a great, United States curse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
he cursed the land.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas like mine had no credence whatsoever. It was just a bunch of kids sitting around going, I'm never gonna get out of this town. To like something with like real historical value that actually has quite a bit of evidence behind it. I mean, there's
And-
photos of Mothman.
Yeah.
They're if you don't know the Mothman legend, folks,
We
look it
should
up
do a
because
Mothman episode.
I think we've
Yeah.
covered him in others.
Yeah,
He's
but
he's
like-
come up. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
come up, but he
Yeah.
hasn't been the focus, I don't think.
Yeah.
of
We
it.
could all go and find a Mothman story.
I think that would be
That'd
great
be
because there's a
wonderful.
lot of them out there.
Yeah.
And,
She's mentioned your bumper sticker.
her bumper sticker is amazing. yeah. It's
Mothman is real. We made out, and he is a gentle and kind lover.
we get a lot of responses from people based on that one, and the other one it's a UFO and it says, what does it say? Get in, loser. We're gonna go do butt stuff.
Yeah.
I remember the tech guy that comes into our work. He comes in. He had seen my bumper stickers, and he laughed, and he tried to describe them to my boss, and he was like, well, one of them says something about butt stuff. Okay.
You're like,
But
great.
you gotta get the context.
Yeah,
to
you
it.
gotta-
If
you gotta
don't
put it in
tell
there,
them
man.
Yeah.
About the UFO, then it just sounds like I like butt stuff. Like, can we please just add the UFO? 'Cause then it's funny. Then it's not weird. It's funny.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. But Mothman, I was super thrilled because we judged the Halloween costume contest at a local place here, and it was by round of applause. And this thing walks in to the place, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Mothman. I was so thrilled.
Yeah.
Like, great costume, glowing red eyes, the whole thing. And I'm like, I have to go say hi.
I gotta say hi to Mothman.
Yeah. So I got a picture with Mothman, which was a woman, so woman, I guess.
Mothman is Mothman,
Right.
Yeah.
And so the way that it goes is like by crowd selection, you get your top 10,
Mhm.
and then you get your top 3, and Mothman won.
Right.
Yes.
So I was super and it was by round of applause. So I wasn't like, well, clearly it's Mothman winning. Because I like Mothman. How many times can I say Mothman?
I was going to say, for those of you at home,
Now it just starts
Leave it
to
in the
sound
comments.
weird.
who's got the counter?
In a non-Mothman episode. This might be a record.
Take a drink every time we say Mothman.
Oh my. I'm going to go back and watch it now. And I'm going to play my own game. Mothman.
I think my curse is probably you're just reading into it. We like to find patterns and things.
Yeah.
And a lot of these injuries they're bad, but they're not like that uncommon in the NFL.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably got injured that year that weren't on the cover. So, I mean, there was a few.
It's a rough sport.
Yeah.
I mean, chances are,
Yeah.
if you're good enough to be on the cover,
You're going to get
you're
hurt.
going to get hurt just because, I mean, you're
And you
or
probably
at a
got
high
hurt the year
level.
before and the year before.
Maybe somebody
Yeah.
out there is like, well, so-and-so, Aaron's on the cover this year.
Target him.
So next time I'm on the field with
Yeah.
Aaron,
Yeah.
I'm taking
the bounty.
I'm hitting him. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and I think like if you're on the cover, it's because you've had a pretty good season or you're a prominent person. And usually if you're at that level, the next year you might not be at that level again. You're going to be down a little bit from
Right,
that. So I think chances are it's not going to be as good as it was before.
Curses have always kind of left us an explanation for the unexplained. And, you know, you start talking about curses and thinking about curses, and they carry such a weight within our society to this day that it's almost uncomfortable to address them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you worry about people putting curses on you. But the thing that I've noticed with curses, they all come with a price.
Yeah.
You can't just curse somebody and walk away. You are going to be chained to that curse yourself in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope the guy who killed his wife because he's jealous, I hope he has something.
Well,
I hope he's cursed by that painting. Well,
see,
he's dead
think
now,
about it.
But
Yeah.
how
I
many
hope he was.
individuals?
He died.
Well, how many individuals throughout history have looked up that painting based on the curse to learn how horrible this human being was?
Right.
true.
Yeah.
That's
That never
And-
would have
Maybe
been
that's
otherwise.
the curse.
Look at
You're
that,
not
he's got-
remembered. You know,
yeah.
and what are we? When all of this is done, when this meat suit that I, populate right now is just turned to ash, I'm nothing more than a memory. The memory in people's eyes, the memory on some gold-plated disc somewhere. That is all I will be.
He'll be in an urn on my bookshelf.
Yeah. But other than that, it's how people remember you. So if you're
Warren Floyd.
at least say hi.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to be there, at least say hi.
Well, when I use the bathroom, I'll just put a book in.
Just keep me in the bathroom.
Yeah. Right.
Please do. That's cool. Yeah. Every morning. Just that.
Taking your
Yeah.
morning dump, you're like,
We had so many great memories in here.
sorry. You said turn to ash, and my mind went to cremation.
But I mean,
Because
you see
will
what I'm
be
saying?
cremated.
It's you're nothing more than a memory when it's all said and done. And maybe the curse is that memory that people have of you
Mm-hmm.
is as a murderer who unjustly,
Mm-hmm.
killed his wife. Not a great painter.
And mother-in-law. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't just kill her either. He
You're a
killed
murderer.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a great painter.
Yeah.
You're not remembered as this fantastic artist. No. You're a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
Boom. There you go. There is the curse itself.
mhm.
And so I think I think we hang on to curses because perhaps it's not just the idea that this horrible thing's happening, but like Cornstalk, it's justice.
Mhm.
Right.
Justice is being done through this action. Yes, others will get hurt because there's fallout to a curse, but justice is ultimately served. You moved to that land, you're asking for it. This is your fault. You came there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The painter, cursed to always be remembered as that. Individuals within, the NFL.
Maybe the ego has kind of come back.
The egos get to come
Yeah.
down just a little bit. And hey, You took, even though mine had no credence to it, you took land. You want it so goddamn bad, you'll
just
never
stay
leave
here.
it.
Right.
You're there forever, champ. I'm glad you got it. There's justice in curses. And maybe that's another reason why we hang on to them so tightly, and think to ourselves a little bit, maybe I shouldn't bother that old woman down the street.
Right.
She might come out and give you the evil eye. Yep.
Yeah.
You never know. Maybe just leave it alone. Because people who don't, people who leave that shit alone generally get by okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bad people sometimes who get the curse. So,
And in, like superhero stuff, they're like curses when something bad happens.
right?
Because they think they were cursed.
Yeah.
So
A lot of strength to it. All right. Since you love it so much,
my God.
last word.
I definitely think we need to do a part 2 because this was so much fun. It was so hard to pick what I was going to do because there is just so many curses or cursed objects. I highly suggest you just go down the jackalope hole and look at it yourself. Go on a little Wikipedia page. They got a list of things.
The list of American curses.
Just don't touch anything.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
don't actually go see the real painting. Don't touch the real thing. Online is just fine.
I want to thank Grant because he's the one who threw this out there.
It crawled around on the floor
Yeah.
for us.
He
Heck
did
yeah.
a great job. He always does a great job. Once again, if you could, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave a comment. Are there any local curses in your area that you can remember from when you were a kid? Are
Please
there?
tell me.
Yeah, we'd love to know about them. And is there any credence to them? Or was it something like mine where we're just anchored here forever? That can't be our fault. You're watching the Jackalopes Explore.
Oh, this was
Scooby-Doo. So he invented the legend of the such and such so he could dig for the treasure and not have anybody bother him.